Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We've got a really interesting World Cup slate today, and this is exactly the kind of card I love breaking down because there are a few massive favorites, a few tricky spots, and a couple of games where the value is definitely not in the obvious markets. We've got Germany taking on Caracao, Netherlands facing Japan, Ivory Coast against Ecuador, and Sweden meeting Tunisia. So 4 games, 4 different angles, and a couple of bets where you really have to dig past the surface if you want to find any real value. Now, let's get straight into it. First up, Germany against Caracao. Now, on paper, this should be one-way traffic. Germany are huge favorites. Caracao are the smallest nation ever to qualify for a World Cup, and that alone makes this one a massive story. But from a betting perspective, that also means the obvious markets are completely smashed up. Germany to win, Germany minus 1.5, Germany first half, all of that stuff is basically dead on arrival from a value point of view. So when a line is this short, I'm not trying to force the favorite just for the sake of it. I'm looking for the little angles that still have a chance to land. And for me, one of the best picks in this match is Caracao to have a shot on target. That's the kind of bet I like in a mismatch like this. Germany are expected to control the game, but even the best teams usually allow 1 or 2 moments. A free kick, a rebound, a half chance from distance, that's all it takes. I'm not saying Caracao are going to scare Germany, but I do think they can nick one clean look at goal. Another angle I like is Germany to score more than once in the second half. If Caracao sit deep early and try to frustrate them, Germany should eventually wear them down. Once the game opens up, that's when the goals can come in bunches. I also don't hate under 6 total goals. That might sound strange in a mismatch, but it actually makes sense. If Germany are up 2 or 3 goals, they may just go into control mode, make changes, and see the game out. You can still cash that under even if Germany put on a strong display. So for me, this game is less about raw scoreline betting and more about finding the smarter angle. Next up, we've got Netherlands against Japan, and this is probably the game of the day for me. Japan come in with serious confidence. They scored loads in qualifying, they've looked dangerous in their recent matches, and they're not coming here just to make up the numbers. But the key thing with Japan is that a lot of those results came against weaker opposition, so I'm not rushing to overrate the numbers without context. The Netherlands, meanwhile, have their own question marks. There are some injury concerns, a few uncertain spots in the lineup, and the goalkeeper situation is something I'd want to monitor closely. But even with those issues, I still think the Netherlands have the edge here. This is a team with quality all over the pitch. If Van Dijk is leading the back line, if De Jong controls midfield, and if players like Gakpo and Malen are getting minutes up top, then they've got enough class to win this match. My best picks here is Netherlands to win. I also like Daniel Malen to have a shot on target if he starts. He's one of those attackers who keeps busy, gets into good areas, and can benefit from the space that other players create. If he's named in the 11, I think that shot on target angle is very live. And I don't mind Japan to score either. The model says they've got a real chance of finding the net, and that's not crazy at all. The Netherlands have had some games where they've been a little vulnerable, so I can see Japan getting one moment even if they don't take over the match. That said, I still like the Dutch to get the job done. Now to Ivory Coast against Ecuador, and this is one of those games where the market probably wants you thinking low scoring, cagey, and maybe a draw. And to be fair, I get it. Both teams have solid defensive records. Both teams have the kind of structure that can make games ugly. But I still think there's a little more to this than just a boring 0-0 type of matchup. Ecuador's defensive numbers are strong, and they've proven they can stay compact against good opponents. Ivory Coast also have a reputation for being difficult to break down. So in a game like this, you're not looking for a shootout, you're looking for small edges. My best pick here is Ivory Coast to get a card in the second half. That fits the game script for me. If they're chasing the match or getting frustrated, that's when the fouls start to pile up. I also think Amad Diallo to have a shot on target is a really interesting player prop if he starts. He's the one player in the attack who gives me the most confidence to do something in the final third. If you want a more attacking angle rather than just playing the total or the result, that's where I'd start. This one feels like a match where the first goal, if we get one, changes everything. But until then, I think the tension will be high and the margins will be very thin. Finally, Sweden against Tunisia. This is a really important game for Sweden because their next fixtures are tough, and this may be their best chance to pick up points in the group. They've got the firepower up top, and if Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres both start together, that gives them a real edge against most teams in this tournament. Tunisia, on the other hand, are not exactly coming in blazing. They've struggled for goals, and while they can be stubborn defensively, they don't give me much confidence going forward. So the play here is Sweden to win. That is my best pick. I also like Tunisia to get the most cards in the match. That fits the kind of game I expect. Sweden should have more of the ball. Tunisia may spend long stretches defending, and when a team is under that kind of pressure, cards usually follow. And if you want a player angle, I'd keep an eye on Hannibal for fouls 1. He's exactly the sort of midfielder who can get involved in the battle, slow things down, and try to help Tunisia push up the pitch. In a game like this, those little numbers can matter. So if I had to keep it simple, my best looks are Germany versus Caracao. Caracao shot on target. Netherlands versus Japan. Netherlands to win. Ivory Coast versus Ecuador. Ivory Coast second half card. Sweden versus Tunisia. Sweden to win. This is a tricky slate because a lot of the obvious bets are priced too short, which means there's not much value just blindly backing the favorites or forcing the popular angles. When that happens, you can't just look for the safest pick on the board. You have to actually dig into the matchup, the game script, and the small details that the market might be missing. And honestly, that's what makes this card interesting. It's not a slate where the best bet jumps off the page at you right away. You have to be sharp, patient, and selective, but if you are, there are still a few really strong angles that can give you an edge. So that's where I'm landing today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's betting these games tonight. It helps the channel a lot, and it lets me keep bringing you these daily picks and breakdowns. And I'll catch you in the next one.